All right. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us on our October Community and Area Volunteer Meetup. For those of you who just joined, please make sure your participant name is updated and please make sure that you are muted unless you're specifically unmuting to ask a question. Um, and we'll get started. We've got a light-ish agenda today. We'll do our joys and challenges. We'll do some news you can use. We've got an update from the Girl Scout Leadership Institute, or GSLI. We've got an update from Product Program, a finance report update, and then we'll do Ask Anything, and then we will finish out the evening with some Looker tips and tricks brought to you by Leslie Gentner. And I'm going to pass it over to Lisa.
Hey, everybody. We always start off talking a little bit about the joys and challenges of the last month. And we tend to focus a lot on activities that have happened. But I also just want to remind folks that you can just lift up something that is a personal challenge in your leadership or a personal joy, something that you feel like you've developed in yourself or that you've launched yourself to do in the last month. Those are things that we want to be celebrating and supporting you in as well. So please feel free to come off mute and share or put your comments in the chat.
Hi, Lisa. This is Robbie Moore. I am on the Witches crew for Spookamaga, and I wanted to share something that I overheard. As you probably know, Linda, our creator, has some challenges these days. And so she and Jan sit in their own little space as the head witches. And a lady, probably mid 30s, came with two young girls. And she said, I have to talk to you, which one? And which was Linda. And Linda said, oh, I'd love to see everybody. And she said hi to the kids and gave them candy. And she said, I came to this event as a girl. I have never forgotten it, and I have never forgotten you. And I am so glad now to have my daughters here. So it was just the most nice event for Spookamaga. We have wonderful events at Spook, but this one was just the right time, the right place, and the right person with Linda to hear it.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing that, Robbie. That's beautiful. Doreen says that the Eagan community has a couple of very fun Halloween recruitment tables coming up through their city, inviting them to join in. And they're just excited for partnerships with their community. Tammy C says a troop from my area is hosting a Juliet Gordon Low birthday party for the area soon. Very cool. Leslie was happy that she made it to Spookamaga for the first time in 14 years. And it was awesome. And Westonka and Orono had over 35 girls, K through 4, plus lots of adults attend our International Day of the Girl event. And the Introduce a Girl Day was a great event. Those are all awesome.
Hi, this is Elizabeth down in our southeast corner. And my real big excitement was I took the challenge of taking over a starter mentor troop this year to get it up and going in the school next to us that hasn't had a troop in about 10 years. We had a misfire originally, but we got going, and I officially have 5 daisies, a leader lined up, and I think actually, oddly enough, a cookie mom on tap. So I'm calling this a huge success.
If that's not a huge success, I don't know what qualifies, Elizabeth. Well done. That's really awesome. Let's see. Casey says, my daughter and another troop member went to Spookamaga. We go every year. The girls are in 8th grade and love going. Stephanie Burton. Cambridge Asante is having a recruitment event on Saturday at the soccer field in Asante, and they're excited. And Jen in Rosemont, Apple Valley has a challenge. She says, we only have one second grade troop and they've got 15 plus scouts plus more that want to join. Our challenge is starting the conversation with parents about starting a second troop. Yeah, Jen, the finding ways to get people to talk about being a leader is a challenge I think most people on the call have probably experienced. I would say, one, engage your volunteer engagement coordinator with some ideas. I'll throw out one of mine, which is do not make the ask to the group. Identify people that you have seen have a positive presence, who have been smiling more than others, who have talked to the girls more directly than others, and talk to those people one-on-one. If you talk to the group, everyone assumes that somebody else will be better at it than them and they don't volunteer. But if you talk to somebody directly and tell them why you're approaching them because you've seen something in them, it becomes much more of a thought process. So, but definitely reach out to your VEC. Let's see. Catherine in Rum River says that recruitment is the challenge. They currently have almost twice as many adults as kids. Yeah, I'm not sure if I got that right. She's got a qualifying, but yeah, the recruitment piece, I think I've talked to a lot of people this week who are doing, telling me about their activities, and I keep encouraging them to think about how it might become a bring a friend event instead of just a Girl Scout event for their troop. Whether that's a service activity that they're doing. She was talking about how they were going to be going to feed our hungry children, starving children, and a nursing home event. And I was like, just turn it into a bring a friend event and invite everybody to come with you, and just as many times as you can do that type of thing. Tammy, I think, is giving some ideas for that recruitment piece. But I'm going to just leave it there for now. I appreciate all of you chiming in. I appreciate you staying connected and trying to pull those recruitment events together. But I want to bring us back to one of the first messages, which was that story about the woman and the parents seeing her and remembering her from when she was a child. And I just want to thank you all for, in the ups and the downs, your constant presence is your greatest gift. And it is the thing that lingers with people for their lifetime. They remember how you poured into them. And I want to thank you for it. That's it, Callie.
Thanks, Lisa. And thanks everyone for sharing. Keep things coming in the chat. My little Zoom thing keeps hiding my slides. There we go. Okay. And we're going to pass it over to Paulette.
Good evening, everyone. I am excited to be here. My name is Paulette, and I lead the Girl Scout Leadership Institute. I'm going to ask for the next slide. I have a couple of updates since the last time I was here, which was last year, and just things to keep you aware of so that you all are in the know because you're at the forefront of a lot of the work that we do. So some of you may or may not know, last year was the first pilot year of our Girl Scout Leadership Institute, really focusing on that high school girl age. We know what happens when girls get older. They, kind of age out in terms of their interest, or they feel like, oh, Girl Scouts doesn't have anything for me. And we took a lot of that feedback and created the Girl Scout Leadership Institute. So we did Saturday sessions last year, which was one Saturday a month with programming and delivered program at various locations, depending on where we were able to get space. So we have a lot of new updates this year, one of which is we have a home campus, which I'll talk about in just a second. Similar to some of our other programs at Girl Scouts River Valleys, though, that deliver in-school programming. Our Girl Scout Leadership Institute staff, there's more than two of us now. We have expanded our team and we are delivering high school programs to 8 schools. So I think right now we have 7 out of 8. Our last one is in the works, and we have our staff that are in school during school time delivering Girl Scouts information and really just connecting with high school girls, making sure that they understand what Girl Scouts has to offer them, that they have a space that they want to meet, and all the cool things that we know about Girl Scouts that they probably may or may not have heard already. The other cool thing is our partnerships. So we are um, moving ahead with university partnerships. This year, new to us is MSU Mankato, wanting to really expand our reach outside of the Twin Cities. So we will be doing monthly sessions the first Wednesday of every single month in Mankato. And that is going to be, I think it's like 4:30 to 6:30 p.m. so that our folks in the southern region can get a little taste of the Girl Scout Leadership Institute. And that's going to be at Minnesota State University, Mankato, in partnership with the university. So we're extremely excited about that. It is new. So we're hoping to obviously grow that program. And continuing, we're going to keep on doing our Saturday sessions. But what's new for us this year with our Saturday sessions, instead of going to different locations every time, St. Kate's is going to serve as our home campus. So we have a home. Yay, Girl Scout Leadership Institute. We're going to be at one spot, no more, continuous changing of parking details. Grateful for all the folks that hosted us last year, but St. Kate's is going to be our main location. And those Saturdays are going to be the second Saturday of every month. So really in the work that we're doing really is to engage high school girls to help show them what the Girl Scouts what Girl Scouts River Valleys has to offer them and what Girl Scouting can do in terms of the outcomes for their girls, and encourage our younger girls who are so excited about Girl Scouts to stick with it, knowing that they have the Girl Scout Leadership Institute to look forward to. Again, just to give you an update, the pillars for the Girl Scout Leadership Institute are always leadership, career development, college readiness, and then mental health. So we always want to focus on those things. And then I'll just give you a highlight. I know you all just talked about your highlights and challenges. So if any of you attended the International Day of the Girl event at St. Kate's on the 11th, thank you. If not, hopefully you can join us next year. We had an Unleash Your Little Troublemaker event, as well as an Unleash Your Inner Troublemaker event with author and TEDx speaker and New York Times bestselling author Lovey Ajayi Jones. So Lovey was here. We had a sold out morning event for the Daisies, Brownies, and Juniors, in which they got an autographed book, and she did a story time for them. And then in the afternoon, girls also received, or participants also received a book, and there was a Q&A and a lot of interaction. And so a lot of heartfelt moments, great questions, and the Girl Scout Leadership Institute is going to continue to bring cool programming, but really focus on the experience of our older girls in 9th through 12th grade. That's all she got.
Thanks, Paulette.
You're welcome.
Let's see. Amanda did have a question in the chat real quick. What time did you say the GSLI event in Mankato is? I think you said 4:30 to 6:30.
Yep, 4:30 to 6:30. I'm going to put our Girl Scout Leadership Institute, like our webpage here. The links are going to be updated this week. So starting this week, you'll be able to see them. You won't see Mankato listed, but you will see the other sessions, and then Mankato will be on the website soon as well. The one thing that you'll notice that we're doing differently this year, I should mention, is last year we split them up by program grade level. So we had our ambassadors and our seniors split up for sessions. This year we're doing things a little bit differently. Everybody will be together unless you've already been with us. So phase 1 of the Girl Scout Leadership Institute is brand new, coming for the first time to experience a session. Phase 2 is the girls that were with us last year. They've experienced some of those sessions, and now we want them to focus on more hard skill development in the hopes of that will bring them on a trajectory to then apply to work at Girl Scouts in terms of working with us through camp or working with highest awards and just some other opportunities that would keep them better engaged. So you'll see that if you look on the website, but that'll be updated again this week with links for folks to register and then information about Mankato. Only thing that won't be on there is high school visits because we do that directly with the high schools.
Thank you. All right. We're gonna continue on to Tammy.
All right. Thanks so much, Callie. So I'm going to admit, everybody, I am a senior Swiftie. I love Taylor Swift. So you're going to have to put up with me as I go through the Life of Product program and all the ways that I can tie in Taylor Swift into my presentations over the next couple of months. So next slide, Callie. We are on to the grand finale in the life of a fall fundraiser, and it is totally on our wish list to ensure that both all of you, our volunteers, and our Girl Scout BFFs are ending the season. You are feeling supported and you are smiling, and you can take that energy into the cookie season. So the sale is going to take its final curtain call this Sunday. And then you got to cue the confetti because rewards are also finalized on Sunday. Now, just a reminder that community volunteers, you can enter late snack order card sales through Sunday. However, you are not able to make reward choices. Troops and Girl Scouts can still make reward choices through Sunday. And it is really encouraging to see most everybody makes a choice between an item and a fall fund, and they get plenty of reminders if they are missing an action in the system, because we want to make sure that all the Girl Scouts get the item that they really, really worked hard for. So after all of that happens, we have the Great Delivery Tour that's going to kick off with mountains of dark chocolate sea salt caramels, peanut butter elephants, taco peanuts, and more. Those are going to be delivered November 17th through the 21st, just in time for the winter holidays. And we do have a few volunteers who are missing some information for their reward and or their snack delivery in M2OS. If you are one of those folks, we have reached out to you with a polite little nudge. You can also check M2OS and just make sure that you verified that information. But if you haven't heard from us, you are in the clear. And now let's go to the next slide. There's no break for us on this tour because we kick cookies into high gear next. So our gluten-free pre-order closed for troops yesterday, and we are sending all of you just a big round of applause in helping troops reach this very first major milestone of the cookie season. So next up, watch your inbox for our virtual cookie training invites for community and area product leaders and any community area volunteer that wants to be part of those virtual sessions. Those are going to be happening December 4th through the 8th in Zoom. And I tell you what, you do not want to miss out on some really, really cool merch. That's going to be your training gift if you attend one of our sessions. And then our volunteer engagement coordinators right now are reaching out to many of you to confirm some information on where to ship the cookie materials and where you want your reward shipments to be sent to. Because we're doing a couple things here. We're trying to shore up our shipping list for our cookie materials and supplies, which are going to be sent out in late December. And we're also working to get Smart Cookies updated before it launches in mid-December. So we need that information to make both of those things happen. So that's all I've got on the tour of the Life of Product program right now. Happy to stick around and answer any questions, but thank you all for keeping in the loop about all the things product program. Certainly do appreciate it.
All right. Thank you, Tammy. We'll keep going here. I've just got a quick finance report reminder for folks. So our 2024 to 2025 finance reports, your final reminder, technically those were due June 30th, but we do offer a grace period for community and areas, which is ending at the end of October here, October 31st. Again, this is the period that covers June 1st, 2024 through May 31st, 2025. And here's why it matters. Having submitted a finance report means that you are a community or area or troop in good standing. It ensures that there is transparency and accountability, both for council and for you, so that you know what's going on in your bank account. We know sometimes people forget to look at those statements monthly, or you get behind on things, life happens. But this ensures that once a year we take a retroactive look and look at what happened in your bank account that past year. It is required by Girl Scouts River Valleys, Girl Scouts USA, and the IRS. So very important for us to complete these. And lastly, it is required for you to receive community funding, which we distribute every year in late November. So that's that annual funding. So just as a high level overview, if you don't submit your finance report by October 31st, and if you don't have at least 2 background checked bank account signers who are current members, there are quite a few people out there who didn't renew their MY26 memberships, or maybe haven't been a member for a few years and, are still on the bank account. So if those 2 things are not in good standing, you will not receive your community funding when Becky distributes that later in November. And I know there's a couple of questions in the chat. Lisa posted the finance form or the finance report form in the chat. And volunteer engagement coordinators are reaching out to folks who are falling into this category of not having enough or background checked member signers, and for folks who have not submitted their finance report. If you're not sure, or you want to just double check, you can certainly reach out to us and we can confirm that. Let's see. And then Amber, this only applies to community and area, well, just communities for their bank accounts. We don't look at, to see if every troop in your community submitted a finance report. This is specifically for your community bank account. So I think that was all of the questions, and that is my only slide. So we will slide right into Ask Anything. And I'm just checking. I'm going to check the chat quick to see if there's anything I missed. Otherwise, feel free to put your questions in the chat or unmute as well. I think we've been on top of questions tonight, though. So. Let's see. Let's see. Is Paulette still on? Nope. Paulette is not on anymore, Nancy, so I can connect with her on that question about highest awards for you.
Casey, what's the question about the trunk or treat stickers? I've been doing those.
Okay, so I submitted a request for our community. We're gonna have a number of troop leaders that are gonna do the after event because we're probably gonna have like 5 groups that are doing a trunk or treat. But I didn't know if the stickers were going out before or after, or ideally before, because we're supposed to be handing them out, right?
Correct. I don't have my list in front of me, but I will tell you that everyone who requested, they've already been put in the mail. We've run out of stickers, and the recruitment team was going to be making flyers so that at the event you would at least have the image to show to people and for them to reference.
Okay, sounds
so-
good. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Lisa, for fielding that one. Let's see. Doreen asked, is it recommended that community treasurers follow up with troops that haven't submitted their bank accounts or their finance reports? And I would say yes. That is part of the treasurer responsibilities. I believe on the finance form, they can indicate or put an email address that sends a copy of the report to. So community treasurers should get should have a record of who has submitted theirs. And then you can use Looker or your own list to kind of figure out who hasn't submitted one yet. Tammy C, I see your question about your specific situation. If your bank account wasn't opened until September, should you still submit the form? I want to say no, but I'm going to have Stefan connect with you. Lisa's shaking her head there. So I'm going to have our volunteer engagement coordinator connect with you and with Becky on that just to confirm, just so we make sure that you get your annual funding.
Can I build off of that and Elizabeth in the Southeast? Because
Yeah.
my new starter troop also technically is a new community because of how the lines got redrawn. And so I think there's nobody technically. So I don't know where we're supposed to go with that at this point. So I think I need to reconnect with somebody on my team for that. Because
Yes.
they're kind of literally 5 days he's in a new leader and no community technically.
Right. Yep. And so we know we keep track of where there are and aren't community and area volunteers. So while technically that community would receive funding for the girls and the adults in that community, and Becky just takes that and kind of holds on to it until we can get community and or area volunteers there, and eventually they'll open up a bank account, and then those funds will get distributed. So right now, nothing that you need to worry about. Just know that we are aware of those types of situations and scenarios, and do hold those funds for just distribution at a later date.
Perfect. Thank you.
Callie, if I can just clarify, the Tammy's group wouldn't need to submit the finance for the past year because they didn't have an account, but they would get the funding as soon as they submitted the new bank account records so that Becky knew they had one to deposit money into.
Yes, thank you, Lisa. That is correct. Thank you for clarifying that for Tammy. There's something else I saw popping up in the chat. Monique shared a community event that they are putting on, so thanks for plugging that in the chat. Let's see. Question is the GSRB website going to be updated to include a link to the new leadership awards? Yes, we are a little bit behind in getting our website updated. But yes, that is our intention. You can, of course, find all of that information currently on the GSUSA website, which I believe you already put there. Yep. So yes, you did include the link there. Eventually that will get transferred to our website, but for now, I would direct folks to the GSUSA website for the most up-to-date information. There. Samantha H in Janesville. Zoom keeps moving on me. Yeah, I would say if you have specific questions about what you should do in your community as far as bank accounts, definitely reach out to us or reach out to your volunteer engagement coordinator. Again, we hold those funds, if there are members in the community, but no bank account or no volunteers at that level, so that they can be distributed at a later point in time. So let's see. But yes, if you're the only one in your community, or there's one troop, or at this point you're not really at a point where you can hold events or hold cookie rallies or that sort of thing, and it doesn't feel like opening a bank account is your first course of action, then I would say, do what makes sense. Maybe recruiting is what you want to focus on instead of opening a bank account. So all of that comes in time. Let's see.
Callie, I'm sorry to be pestering here, but
you go right ahead.
It's just piggybacking with another community I've been working with. So
yeah.
What I would say is I have confirmation from Becky that even if you are a very, very small community, if you get those community funds, even if there's just one troop, that community account can be used for recruiting events that then would expand the program and make you more accessible and give you funding in a way that maybe you couldn't have done if it was just the small number of the little bit of money that you had in the troop account. So
yeah. Okay. Thanks, Lisa. Yes, always, these are all good conversations to have with your volunteer engagement coordinator who can kind of talk through the various ways of moving forward here. All right. I think that is all the questions in here. Someone had a question about or just mentioning that the higher awards proposals, hearing feedback on those has maybe been delayed. And Nancy shared that those are delayed a bit due to new info coming from GSUSA. They are being reviewed by staff and distributed to the highest awards committee members as needed. So folks should be hearing soon. Okay. All right. We are going to move forward. If there are other questions, please feel free to put those in the chat, and I can answer them as we go. Otherwise, I am going to pass it over to Leslie Gettner from our Robbinsdale community and the Northwest Metro area. And she is going to share some Looker tips and tricks for you all. So I am going to stop sharing my screen and let Leslie share her screen. Oh, Leslie, you're muted if you're talking.
Awesome. Great. Thank you for letting me know. All right. And hopefully the right screen is showing. Big green tile, don't use Looker, question mark. All right. I'm not hearing any no's, so I'll assume that's a yes.
Yep, you're good,
Okay.
Leslie. Sorry, I was doing a thumbs up.
Okay, great. I am going to switch so I can actually see you now. So many screens here. Okay, great. So my name is Leslie Gettner, and as Kelly said, I'm the community leader for Greater Robbinsdale and the area leader for Northwest Metro, which includes Greater Osseo. I love learning new things, and I am a self-proclaimed information junkie. I have been using Looker since 2019 when I first became a service unit manager. Another volunteer told me I wouldn't probably be needing to use Looker often. But when I realized what its functional capacity was, I knew they were wrong. My question was, how do I make it work for me? Most of the next few slides were created from information found in the GS Learn modules and the GSRV website page using Looker. Looker is the national system of record that houses our membership data. It pulls information from more than one source, so there is a one-day delay as it updates overnight, but you are able to access the information 24/7. Some of the dashboards are formatted in visual tiles, so you don't even have to analyze the information. I rarely download the rosters from Looker because within a day or two, the information becomes outdated. When I became comfortable filtering and navigating, I was able to obtain and copy the information I needed more efficiently than I could maintain spreadsheets. Access differs depending on your role. National and council staff have different access than we as community and area volunteers do, which is more limited. When we implemented areas in October 2024, volunteers with an area role gained access to the membership data in communities that are a part of their area. This increased our ability to communicate with neighboring communities, invite more members to our meetings and events, and build our local resources. Even 10 years ago, many of our communities were double the size in membership. If your area does not have a volunteer in an area role, I highly encourage you to consider stepping into an area volunteer role so that you can utilize the data available for networking and resource sharing within your Girl Scout area. Talk to your volunteer engagement coordinator about further opportunities and needs. On the Girl Scout River Valley website, there is a page called Using Looker. It will walk you through how to access and navigate Looker. And did you know that Looker will work on phones and tablets? It's a little harder to access all that data on a tiny screen, but it can be done, and I do so surprisingly often when I'm looking up singular pieces of information. One of the most common login problems is the use of the authentication button. Don't use it. Skip to the alternate login page or bookmark the email login provided by GSRB. If, after resetting your password, add no reply at lookermail.com to your safe sender list, if you have that option, and if you cannot find the email, make sure to check your spam and junk folder, which I know you already did. If you still have problems, email council or your volunteer engagement coordinator and ask for help. Here's a quick video demo showing accessing Looker. Is there any sound coming through?
No, Leslie, I was going to say, I don't know if that video had sound or not, but we couldn't hear it. I think you might have to, did you click share sound when you did?
I did.
Okay.
So that's okay. I may have to narrate the next one. All right. Once you have logged into Looker, you will see 6 green tiles. Those represent the dashboards you have access to. They will be arranged according to the size and layout of your screen. On the slide, they are vertical, but on the demo, they will be horizontal. On the left side of your screen on a computer, you will see a menu. That may look different on each device. A little about each dashboard. The contact list is a simplified version of the full roster with limited details about the caregiver and the girls in your community. The full roster will give you full details for each member in your community, including their true affiliation roles, contact information, background check eligibility, and additional information that I have not found a use for. You also have access to the GS Learn Summary and membership analysis. I use those less frequently and won't be covering those tonight. I encourage you to take a look at them and be familiar with them on your own time. The membership analysis is actually quite interesting and informative. New in the last 2 weeks is especially helpful during September and October when we are receiving new members into our communities, but it also includes those who missed the October 1st deadline for renewal and those who are adding roles to their membership. Troop details lets us see what troops are open to new girls, where they are meeting, and what they have added for notes in the troop catalog. It does not show the leader and roster, but I'll show you how to access the roster for each troop from here and the full roster. A year or two ago, they added a contact list dashboard. The full roster has everything but the kitchen sink. It's good for searching by program level, by school, and I use this a lot during recruitment season. The contact list has limited headings. It's much cleaner and simpler. It has all the information you really need, and it's great for grabbing emails or finding troops and members. But it does not include program levels or member schools. When navigating the Looker environment, these are some of the features to be familiar with. You can hide or toggle the menu on the upper left corner. You can also hide or toggle the filters in the upper right and open the 3-dot menu to allow you to reset or clear the filters. There are tiles inset within windows, so you have internal and external scroll bars, both vertically and horizontally. It can get a little confusing if you don't have a large enough monitor. Each column has a 3-dot menu that will appear when you hover. I frequently use freeze and copy values, and I'll explain those more. The up and down arrows in each column allow you to sort, and shift plus click allows adding additional columns to sort. A note about copying values. Specifically, email addresses for use in emails. When you copy those and use them in Gmail, which I think a lot of us do, when you use those in the recipient field, Gmail will automatically eliminate duplicates. The one thing though is Looker includes the heading when you copy, so you have to scroll to the bottom and delete that heading because Gmail does not recognize it as an email, and it shouldn't. All right, I have another demonstration. I'm hoping it will play the sound, but I see that that's not actually the next slide. Talking about those 3-dot menus in the upper right corner of each tile, those have features that allow you to see the rosters better. You can hide the filters and the menu to increase your viewing area, and then click on the 3 dots where you'll find options to download. The default is CSV, but you can also choose to download it as a spreadsheet. The view options, expand and full screen, are in the next slide. Expanded provides a full view of the tile, and clicking on the right and left arrows will scroll you through the youth roster, the adult roster, and then the full combined roster. Let's see what happens with
Not hearing any sound, Leslie.
well, shoot. Okay, so I'm showing the hide filters on and off.
If you're using headphones, that might be why we're not hearing it on our end.
Oh, all right. Let me pause this. I'm going to bring this back. Thank you, Stacy. And I will take my headphones off.
I'm still not getting. It's probably something in the Zoom settings where you have to switch it after you've taken your headphones
Yeah, I
out.
did select it when
Okay.
I shared
It
my screen.
just
but that's
came through
okay.
to me and it wasn't before,
Oh,
but I'm on headphones.
Okay. So I'm just going to quick narrate this as we go because I know what I'm doing. There's the menu toggle to hide that and to return it. Here's the filter, hide and reveal. The external scroll that takes you through all 3. You'll notice there's no results, and that is because I filtered it for no girl because I was respecting the member privacy, which was kind of tricky when I started doing this, realizing, oh, wait, I don't want everyone to see member contact information. The up and down arrows here is where the shift click, you can sort by multiple columns. So I can sort by service unit and then by troop. Here's the tile actions where you can find the download data, the view for the expanded and full screen. And in this, you can toggle between youth, full roster, adult, and I didn't actually demonstrate this because it would have shown the adult members, but the X will then close it. And download data has a lot of different options. And there we go for that one. And here's the meat. In this slide, you will see the filters that I use most often noted with a green star and critical filters noted with a gold star. You have to make sure you have the correct year, and that changes on October 1st. After October 1st, it'll default to the current year. Preceding October 1st, current year, and next year are the choices. Now we have current year and last year. Under service unit, you will see what is your match a user attribute, and it will default to that. I'll show you how to change it to something different. And service unit is the national word, which is different than what we use now with community. Let's see, I lost my place here. Girl Scout River Valleys, though, has figured out a workaround because National does not have an area designation. I generally use 1 to 3 filters and then sort. I don't probably use more than 4 at a time. Membership fields are especially useful in September and October, and what I mean by that are the ones, is membership new? Is membership registered for next year? Depending on whether I'm looking up a girl or an adult, the email field could be either. So sometimes I've had just basic information. Maybe I've had an email address. Maybe I've had a name. Sometimes I've had people at open houses or events. They'll come up and they'll have a story, they'll have an issue, and I'll have limited information. And with that information, I can oftentimes find what troop they're in. And using these drop-down fields, which I have a demo coming up, I'm able to isolate what they are, what troop they're in, and how I can see what their circumstances or Girl Scout environment is. Also notice the red call out up here. After you complete your filters, you have to click on this refresh button in order to get it to apply it to your filters. All right. Filter options and downloads. First, you want to confirm your current or next year. It defaults to the community that you have access for. To change it to, for example, I have an area role, so it includes all of what you see in this slide. If I want to isolate it to, for example, C147, which is Robbinsdale, I'm going to change the left side to is, and then I'm going to X out the CO18 string of stuff and then select just C147. Then I can choose other options like doesn't contain, and then I'll update. And sorry, this is not flowing out of my mouth quite as smoothly as it did earlier. Another really cool feature, I often want to use columns that are too far to the right, such as school, and there are so many columns. I think I counted it one time and it was like 34 columns. I don't remember. And I don't always want to scroll to the right for everything I want to see. And I discovered that when you hover over the column and you see the 3 dots, you can select freeze and that column will get thrown all the way to the left. So let's say there's 5 or 6 columns that you want to see all together. School, grade, program level, first and last name. You can throw those all the way to the left and they'll be right next to each other. After they're next to each other, if you don't like the order, you can just drag them into the order that you want. They won't always stay that way as you move from one view to another, but sometimes it surprises you and stays that way. And I don't quite understand why it stays sometimes and not the others. All right, here is another soundless demonstration that I will narrate. All right, yes, it is playing. Ah, so sorry. I just wanted to speed it up because I see that we're kind of getting a little short on time here.
Leslie, we're not going to do any breakout rooms at the end, so you can take as much
Okay.
time
All
as you
right.
need.
So here you can see I'm changing from user attribute to is. And then I'm going to change this to a single value. And I can select a specific role. Once that little arrow shows up, it will give you a drop down. Now I can select a specific role or I can type a word. So for example, typing community and hitting enter will give me all of my roles that start with community. You can't see the results right now because I've cropped my screen to keep that data private. I can also then filter it a little deeper by selecting my new members. So the results would show all of my community role members that are new. Then if I want to do something different, I can clear my filters. And I can search by a specific troop. And using the drop down, it will give me all of the troops that are in the service unit field. So if I want that one specific troop, the results that you cannot see would be all of the members of that troop, both youth and adult members. You can also go just by a first name. I love that with this little arrow, it has all the first names that are already in your membership. So I'm guessing there's one Araya. So if I were just looking for her and I didn't know what troop she was in, that would get me her, that one person, her guardian's information and her troop number. And then I can show you how I would open up her troop roster and I could find her troop leader. I'm not going to do that with Araya though, because then you would have more information than I should disclose. So I'm going to actually do that on my own name. So because I'm an adult, I needed to scroll down to the adult full roster. And you'll be able to see, I'm going to go to the expanded view. And these are all of the roles that I currently hold. And it shows roles in C018, C068, because I'm an area leader. And the way that GSRV has worked around the lack of an area role is that it puts me as a community volunteer in all 3 communities. So if you were an area volunteer in an area that included 5 communities, you would show up as a community volunteer in all 5 communities. So that long vertical line is the divider between frozen columns and non-frozen columns. So I'm freezing these and it's throwing them to the left. And do you see how they're accumulating over here on the left side next to each other? So that I don't have to keep scrolling back and forth. And if you're looking at a bunch of rows, this is a really nice feature. Now, I'm also a cookie manager for a now junior troop. And I'm just showing how you can adjust the columns as you wish, drag them around. And when I said that the frozen columns will stay, when I go in and out of this view is when they stay. They won't stay this way if I close out and come back 2 days from now. Now, those 3 dots that I'm showing you here, this is where, if I open this, it will open a new tab and show me everybody that is also not applicable. So that'll be your lifetime volunteers who aren't in a troop. Here, if I open the 3 dots behind a troop, it's going to show me the entire troop of girls and adults, which is really handy. There are times if I can't think of an example right now, but there are times where I will maybe open all of the Brownie troops and I'll have like however many Brownie troops I have, 7 or whatever it is, open in separate tabs. And I will then be able to get whatever information I'm looking for. Maybe I have one person that somebody emailed me and they're looking for a Brownie troop because they moved to this area. So I'm just going through the Brownie troops looking to see who I could reach out to and have a conversation with. Then if I copy these values, I can drop them in. Obviously here it's all the same. Showing you here that we just have those 2 choices. Membership registered for next year, super handy during like August and September when you're kind of wondering who you should reach out to and give a nudge. This September, one of the troop leaders asked me, do families get the same kind of emails we get about renewing? And honestly, I didn't know. I know that they get early bird information, but then after that, I don't know if they get the same sort of nudges to renew. But I send out reminders to our membership, and I can do that because I can filter it down to only those members who haven't renewed. All right, so creating boards is the big aha moment for me that I found with a couple of other volunteers that we got together to do a little work group and hammer out our looker love and hate. And in my demos, you might have noticed on the left-hand side, there was a list that started with 477. Those are boards I created from filtered results. And I can come back to those boards over and over again. The naming has to be unique because any board is part of the National System of Record. I followed the naming convention the council uses in GS Learn and start my boards with 477, which is our council ID, followed by either our area ID or community ID. Then I use a descriptive word. So for example, it would be 477:C147 followed by volunteers. So that would tell me it's my Robbinsdale volunteers. Each board can have multiple sections to put filtered results. The most reliable method to save your filtered settings is to use the URL link option. To add content to a board, first you filter the content, then open the 3-dot menu, select Get a Link. Do not use Add to Board. This requires an additional step to save your filtered settings, and if you forget, you'll simply be saving an unfiltered roster, which is, you might as well just use the home page. Copy the URL to the clipboard and click Done. Select the board and section where you want to save the content. And I do have a demo. Title the section, add a description, click Add Content by URL, paste it into the link field, and leave the next two blank fields blank. So for some strange reason, I have to click in the open space of the description field before clicking Add. This has been a real game changer for me. All right, see that menu on the left, 477 list? Okay, I'm going to create a new board, and I created a test board. NWM is what I use for Northwest Metro. Up here, you could title it, but you can't use this area over on the right that says about this board. That has been locked, I'm assuming, by National. But you can use the description area right below the title. In this case, I didn't use it. When you click on the plus, it opens up those two choices. Use the URL link, not saved content. Here, I'm just checking my current year and my service unit. I'm going to filter by DAISY, so I'm getting all my DAISY members. So for example, maybe I want to send a welcome to all of our DAISY members and just introduce our leadership team, maybe tell them about some special events coming up, just make them feel welcome and a part of our community. Now I'm going to click on URL link. I'm going to paste that link I copied right here. And then for some reason I have to click, because that's gray, I have to click there to get it to show up blue. And that is already slid over. And now it's there. You can add additional boards under a section, but they don't allow, there's no way to title them differently. So you would have multiple full rosters side by side with no way to know how they're different. So I have a string of new sections. So showing you here, here's one that's member rosters. I have Robbinsdale all member, Osseo all member, Juliet only. And in my volunteer one, I have area and community level that I need to update, leaders and mentors. Here, contact lists show up differently than full roster. Robbinsdale leaders and mentors, contact list and full roster, Osseo leaders and mentors. And then I have my community team for Robbinsdale. So I don't have to sort those and filter those each time. I just go to my list on the left and click on them. All right. Why are boards awesome? Because they can be shared with other volunteers. And sharing a board includes all those sections below it. And that is efficient if the recipient uses the shared board. They don't have to start from scratch. And to share a board, you click on the share symbol up in the right-hand corner. You choose either copy the URL or send to the recipient or both. And when a board is shared, it'll show up in their shared folders. And this is a super short one. In this one, I shared it with Shamika, who's on my team, and I think tuning in tonight. So you copy that URL. And this shows 1,106 members that I could share with. So it gives me the impression I could share it across communities. So for example, I know Amber Swift, and so it gives me the impression I could share it with Amber. I don't actually know what that looks like. If she's not in my community, I don't know if she could open it. I haven't tried that. You can select view only or manage access and edit. So there I've selected Shamika, and then I'm going to email the people I've just added, and then I could also send them an email with the link in it. And there's the shared folders. And that's where they would look to see any boards that I have shared with them. All right. I see there's a whole lot of questions in the chat. Let's see. If you yes, Stacy's right. If you download it as a CSV, you can save it as an Excel file, but the place that that option of downloading as other things, that is, I'm going to stop sharing. All right. That is in, there are so many 3-dot fields in Looker. The 3-dot field that is inside your filtered results is where you get the multiple options. If you use the 3 dots that are in your up by your filtered results, you're only going to get your 2 options of PDF and CSV. Let's see. Callie, are there other questions that other people haven't already answered?
There was one, I think situation that Amber mentioned that is, I'm sure, probably
Yes.
lots of folks wondering.
And Stefan, I think, sent that up to the person.
Yes. Okay.
Because that was one I don't know. She's using the right login, but she's using the right screen for logging in, but it's not letting her in.
Oh, I think we might be talking about different.
Oh, okay.
No, you're good.
That one up tonight. You have to email someone with that one. I was saying, like, you did at the brownie level, you did something, but that skips the ones with that are multi-levels. So for example, a lot of times I'm looking for a email list to send to all like cadet, senior, and ambassador troop leaders. So like any troop leaders that have girls of those levels. But I haven't figured out how to sort it that way yet. So what I do is kind of like somebody said, like I end up importing it to Excel, and then I sort to figure out which troops have girls in those levels by grade, not by the troop level. So I can catch those multi-level girls, and then I go back and look up the troop leaders, and so it's a kind of a whole thing. So I was curious if you knew of a easier way to do that.
So I end up doing the same thing as you do in your downloaded. I just do it in Looker, where I will sort by grade level, and then I will try to think how, so I need to write down those steps. I end up just staying in Looker and not using the spreadsheet, but I will, you can also add your multi-level troop in there. So I could do brownie plus multi-level, and then I could do leader. and that would get all of your multi-level. Now, if you wanted to get more specific and drill down on those multi-level troops, you could do that individually. But you're right, it is hard because they don't attach a program level to the adults, and that would be really nice if they did.
Yeah, well, and especially like with the multi-level, if I was looking for something where I want to send it to just the older girls, like we're doing an event for older girls, I don't want to send it to a multi-level that only has daisies and brownies,
Right.
type thing. So yeah, we've got a lot of multi-levels in my community, so I'm always fussing with those ones in particular.
Yes, yes. And yeah, I do know what
You
you're
could
doing.
sort just by grade level though, right?
You can sort by grade level. But then to tease out just the leaders, you lose, I know what Amber's talking about. There's a gap in there that when you sort by grade level, you don't capture adults because grade level isn't a field in the adult membership. So then you have to open up your troop rosters and sort backwards. Does that make sense? So it would be nice if either program level was attached to a leader or a grade level was attached to a leader to an adult membership.
Yeah, and they might have to be in there multiple times then, but it would be amazing if that was the case.
Right. Yeah.
Could you just search it by date of birth, like within a year range of birth? Like, say if you want the older girls, like 2007 or 2008 to like 2010 or something like that.
It's not a problem finding the girls. The problem is finding the leaders of those girls.
Oh, the leaders. Sorry.
Yes. Yes. But then once you get that isolated, that's when saving a board is kind of nice. If you can get that all into one filtered result.
Yeah, I had never seen the whole board thing. So I guess if I looked it up once, then I could put in the troops that I know have those girls, and now it will be good for the whole year. Yes. Unless a troop randomly gets a girl of that age later on, I suppose.
Yep.
But that seems less likely.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm going to have to give that a try once I can get that.
You've tickled my brain though, because, well, and Melissa's got a point. You can look at the troop details roster and sort by grades. And so that's just another way of end running it. And this is why it's always nice when you have the hive working on it. And that's how Janet and Leah and I broke open the whole board thing, because we were like, okay, we can do boards, but how? And we got that figured out. But yeah, I bet if you go through the troop details and sort by grades and then work backwards from there, you can get the leaders.
I can check with our council looker person as well in case there's a different or a quicker workaround, and
that'd
we
be
can
awesome.
share that at a later time. I don't think it will be ready by Thursday for our Volunteer Monthly newsletter, but I can definitely check with her and see what we can do on that one. So,
but yeah, there's times when we want to mail out to just older girls CSAs, or just DBJs.
Yep. There was one other. Catherine asked, so as a community product leader prepping cookie training materials, I have yet to figure out if Looker can give me a total number of girls registered for each troop. Am I missing something?
No, you can do that. Yes. That would be in your troop details. And each troop, I'm getting there, each troop on the far right, there's a column that says, let me expand the column, youth assigned. So for each troop, so if I throw youth assigned, if I freeze that column
Leslie,
over to the far left.
I don't know if Leslie can share her screen without without sharing member data, unfortunately. So that is the tricky piece of all of this.
But
The troop details roster won't have the details of the
correct.
girls
Yeah.
or the
Correct.
people.
So I can share that. Okay, here we go. All right, so can you see this one? So youth assigned, I'm going to unfreeze it. So for example, I can sort, I'm going to hide my filters here. So I can sort by my service units, and we are C147. So let's say I was the product manager just for Robbinsdale. Here's my troops and my grades, all of that. Way over here to the right is youth assigned. That is the number of girls in that troop. So I'm going to freeze it. That's going to put it way over here. And I'm going to freeze my troop number. And remember when I was saying you can shift and click? So I've already sorted by the service unit. Now I'm going to hold down the shift key and I'm going to, sorry, here we go, shift and sort. And I'm going to reverse that sort. So now I have my troops for C147 in numerical order. This is an inactive troop. But then for each of these troops, this is how many girls I have in each troop. Catherine, does that answer your question? Awesome.
Catherine said yes. Yep, that answered her question.
And then to Melissa's comment that yes, you've got your grades here, so you can sort also by grade. And then this is where the 3 dots are that you can open up the troop roster, and then you could grab the leader information. But you're still not going to get a board out of it. You're just going to get more information that you have to copy and paste. So yeah, if there's a way that we can somehow get around having to click so many times or download and manipulate the data, that would be great. Because yeah, the multi-level combined with the single level is, it is really hard to pull out the leader. So, all right, stop sharing. Any other questions?
I think those were the ones that I saw. Mhm.
Thank you, Stacy. Tammy and Rachel in product were like, oh, I bet we can probably learn a few new things too.
Yes, I definitely learned some new things.
Wouldn't it be awesome?
So-
Yeah, if we had leaders in the troop details as a separate column. The problem is that there's multiple leaders for each troop. So I don't know if they'd have to have like a, troop leader 1, troop leader 2, and then you've got first names, last names. So I'm not quite sure. I've thought about that too, because even when I'm manipulating a spreadsheet and I've combined leaders into my troop details, I have to figure out how I want to format those multiple leaders. And I usually end up just putting like their last names, like Smith and Jones. And then that's partly how I get familiar with my troops.
I think that
So
is all the
thank you
questions.
for letting me share this with you, because I have loved Looker since, probably a month after I figured out its capabilities, but it is complicated.
Thank you so much, Leslie. This was super great. And of course, this is recorded and we'll send out Leslie's slides as well, so you can all review and pause and do things and then resume the video, Leslie's demo. So thank you so much. All right, that is it for us tonight. Thank you so much for joining. And we will see you all next month, November 18th. Have a good rest of your night and don't get blown away by all the wind. So thanks, everyone.